Well, how about that? It has been 1 year. 1 year, November 12th, 2022 is when I got in the U-Haul and headed up here from California. Actually, that was 4 days ago. I'm recording this 4 days late because traveling a lot, and that has affected my time here to a great degree. So yeah, this is the anniversary video, the 1 year video. I've done, every couple months or every 6 months or whatever. This is 1 year in, and I will discuss how I like it, how I don't like it, and all the fun stuff that comes with being in a new city, in a new state, and a whole new situation. So I guess the question you gotta be asking yourself is, do I love it? No, I wouldn't say I love it. Do I like it? I don't know if I don't dislike it. So there's that. I don't know. I definitely don't hate it. Don't love it. Don't like it, but I don't dislike it. I just kind of tolerate it. It's just what it is, and it's fine. There's nothing particularly wrong with it. It's just something different, and it fits my needs for now. Let's just put it that way. But yeah, now that I've passed the 1 year mark, I can really think, do I miss California? Do I miss my old home? Do I miss everything there? Well, as I said before in other videos, a lot of what I used to have there, I didn't have even before I moved. That meant family had moved away, neighbors had moved away, friends had moved away, and things I used to do, some of the theaters had closed down, some of the other theaters had kind of given up their programs. So a lot of the fun stuff I used to do, and the people I knew, were no longer there. All that was left was a house I was living in, and yeah, rotating roommates all the time was not fun. There's pros and cons of roommates. The biggest pro is just, reduces the rent. But the cons are, another pro is like game nights and, there's that. But yeah, the cons is mainly just having to replace roommates, or sometimes you got stuck with a roommate you just thought, it was not a good fit. It's just like a nice person, but just not a good fit for the house. And that's kind of what led me actually to finally make the move. It was just one roommate that had come in and was just a terrible roommate. Decent human being, but a terrible roommate, and that caused me to just say, forget it, I'm done with all this, so I'm out. Which is too bad, because the other roommates were actually pretty good. Now, as far as, just living in the house, I liked the house. There were some really cool things about it. I loved the backyard. I loved having a big backyard and a garage and just room and the parking. There was just so many nice things about having a big house. That said, I didn't really, I don't say occupy. I didn't, the house was almost like too big. I mean, I hardly ever went upstairs. The whole upstairs wasn't needed by me. And there was parts downstairs, like I just never used the family room or whatever. So I thought, to have that big of a house just seemed kind of wasteful, and it's hard to miss that when I didn't really need it or use it that much. Then I would say I don't really miss the politics of California. Although we get the politics here, you get politics everywhere. That's why I don't go too heavy on them too much of the time. I do say my opinion on occasion when I just feel like it. But I think the complicated thing about leaving California is, a lot of people are, it's just you hate to give up and just say, you guys win, it's going the wrong direction, and I can't fight it anymore. It's like, no, it's our state. We don't want to save it and fix it, not just let it go, to the trash. But sometimes, I don't know, you can't save a sinking ship. I don't know, it's complicated. If the right opportunity presented itself, I would go back to California. It would just depends. But back to Seattle, because that's where I'm at. So what have I liked about Seattle in the past year, about living here in the past year? Well, the number one thing is being close to, like, best friends, being, like, 15, 20 minutes away, so I can visit, hang out, drink wine, see a movie, go to dinner, or just chat. Drink wine's probably a big thing, but having that proximity is really nice. That said, I actually have probably seen my friends here about the same amount of time as when I lived in California, because I would take 5 or 6 flights up a year, and I've been busy, they've been busy, so yeah, it's probably been about 5 or 6 times, maybe a little more, but it's still a really nice pro. Another thing right here is I have pretty good access to the airport. I can get to the airport in about 25 minutes with no traffic. That said, Uber fees are just insanely, from Oakland to Pleasanton, it was about the same charge as from here in Oakland, Pleasanton. Actually, it's probably about only 10 minutes longer. But it's just funny that the fees, the Seattle airport fees, they just, really drive it into Uber. So we have to pay for it. At least there is a train, and I do take the train often when coming home, just not when going out there, because I just need to get to the airport and not worry about the train schedules. And it is not that much fun. It takes about an hour and a half to get to the airport instead of just maybe 30 minutes, so an extra hour of time. And while I'm in Seattle, I'm sort of in a suburb of Seattle, so I don't have to deal with all of the problems of downtown, the congestion, a lot of the crime issues, or, I mean, really, it's just, I'd say the biggest issue would be congestion, all the cars and trying to get in and out. So I'm so glad I did not get a condo in downtown Seattle, even though I was looking for one at some time and looking for condos there. So that saved me a great headache, because I don't think I could have lasted this long if I had to go through that every day. Right now, if I want to go downtown, I can drive, but then I have to worry about parking. I can walk, which actually takes only about 35 minutes, and sometimes I do, especially coming home if I had a few drinks. I can take Uber, which is a really good way. It's still probably about 15, 20 bucks, or a bicycle and scooter, which I rented before. So all of those make it pretty cool to be close to a city, but not having to deal with all the problems in a city. And finally, what I like here is there's less maintenance, but there's sort of an asterisk on it, because a lot of the maintenance I didn't mind. I did not mind mowing the lawn. I did not mind, well, the weeding got excessive after a while, but I didn't mind some of the upkeep that you have to do when you have to take care of a house. It was paid for, but yeah, here, I don't know, I think I got the maintenance out of the way at the very beginning, so there hasn't been much to do in maintenance. So that is kind of nice, not having to worry about stuff like that. But yeah, so there is less, but I don't know how big of a pro that is. Now, as far as dislikes, yeah, well, condo living is different. You have neighbors above, below, and to the sides, and there's always that noise issue. You want to be polite and not be too loud, but you also can hear the other noise, and you want to be able to enjoy your life and watch the TV. But it's kind of a different balance. It's sort of, in a way, it's like still having roommates to some degree, so that part's not terribly enjoyable. And no garage. I really miss having a garage for the weights and stuff like that, and hobbies. No garden. I mean, I do hydroponics, which is something, but I do miss having these raw earth to put things into and watch them grow. Even though I wasn't always that successful with it, sometimes I was on some things. So, but I love the challenge. Even though every year I'd kind of give up, say I'm not doing this again, and the next year, all right, I'll try again. And it was also nice having, the parking. Here I have an assigned space, so it's not really a problem, but having a street to park on with plenty of spaces and people want to visit, it's just a lot, nicer when you're not in a kind of a crowded neighborhood like this. Parking is, significant, but, that's why it's pretty low in the list. It's not that big of a deal because I do have an assigned space. And finally, for a dislike, well, there are the homeless issues. I don't have anything against homeless people, by bad luck or bad choices, whatever, people have fallen into a situation. It's just the issues that come along with it sometimes can be frustrating. You sometimes have people camping out in your parking garage, and smoking things, and that's like, it can be frustrating, but it hasn't been a problem too often, but every once in a while, I would say every 6 months, you get someone like, so that's the thing. And, eventually you're probably going to have a fatality, which is too bad. It's just, you got to get rid of the drug dealers, as we say. I don't always say it, but I'm saying it now. And what am I indifferent to? Things that could be an issue, but I don't really care about. The weather is, I've been here all seasons now, so it's been a full year, but yeah, the people that, that sit there and just think, oh, Seattle, it's all raining. It's like, living, if you, it's no way to know until you lived here, really. But those rumors is like, yeah, I mean, we do get some cloudy days. It's really not that big of a deal. And I would say it's really not that worse than the Bay Area, California. Maybe not LA, but if you lived in the Bay Area, the temperatures really are not that far off a lot of the year. At least, not last year at least. And the rain isn't that far off. Sometimes it's raining in California, it's not even raining here. Or it's colder in California. Not often, but sometimes. So, yeah, this whole weather thing, I don't know. Maybe that may have changed in the past few years, but it wasn't as excessive as people think or say or fear. It's actually, at some point, you kind of miss the rain when it stops for a while for summer. And what's funny is it's kind of a wash, but yeah, getting to the airport, because that is a big thing I do. I go to the airport and do a lot of travel. It's closer here, but it sometimes, I have to take Uber a lot more here because of the parking garage situations there. It's just so expensive. Although, to be fair, I have not actually looked for other parking garages to go to. I think I've priced it out a few times and the savings wasn't high enough for me to just say, I'm just going to take Uber. Yeah, because most of the time Uber actually is cheaper if I take Uber there and just take the train back, because then it's like $45, maybe $50 plus 3, and a parking garage every night, even at the cheaper places, is probably still going to be $25 to $30. So yeah, if it's going to be 2 or 3 days or more, then so I'm kind of indifferent for that, I guess what I'm trying to say. And the politics as well. I see stuff about Seattle and think, oh, those are stupid choices, and it's like, you guys are idiots and voting for these people. But I also not really involved myself that much into it because I'm not trying to save this city or save this state. It's just sort of, I'm still like a guest, I think. I'm a visitor, so I'm just kind of passing by, spending a little time here, kind of like I say, sometimes I feel this is almost like a hotel. A hotel I've been in for a year, a long time. That would be a very expensive hotel, but that's what I feel sometimes. It's just sort of felt like, I guess, kind of a halfway house. It got me out of my living situation in California and allowed me to kind of, I don't know, be on my own. And I mean, really, this is the first time, well, this past year, that I've actually lived 100% on my own. I mean, I've always had roommates or family, so that has been a change. I know it's a little late, but I don't know. I mean, people say, oh, you shouldn't have roommates past a certain age, but it's like, yeah, you also, saving all that money. I mean, I've invested a lot of money because of that. So I'm not complaining, and it is nice to have people to have game nights with or like chat with and stuff like that. So there's pros and cons, but I don't know. I mean, people can do whatever they want to do. So while there's no real regrets about the past year, I do acknowledge that I've been traveling so much that I haven't been able to do any theater out here. I haven't even auditioned or applied for any theater out here. I could be going out a lot more, like bars or the game nights or wine tasting or doing more groups or classes. There's just so much I really haven't done because, yeah, I've dedicated all my time to traveling and doing theater. So, yeah, I would say if the Florida theater hadn't come along, then maybe I would be doing a lot more out here. Who knows? Maybe not. It's hard to say. But with work and theater, yeah, that occupied a lot of time. So I could change that. I don't know. I'm happy with what I'm doing, but I also have to acknowledge that, to really give this place a chance, I should probably give this place a chance. That said, I think in 2024, I'll start really looking more earnestly about other places, really. If I wanted to stay in this area, I would probably still look for a different, maybe smaller town. Seattle's cool. There's a lot of offer, but I don't really need Seattle. There's nothing in Seattle that I'm particularly drawn to. It's a big city. I would live in it before I'd ever live in San Francisco. I would say that. I would never live in San Francisco. But when you start to get outskirts, would you live in like Colusa or Colma or like cities like, South Cupertino? Yeah, I would live in those cities. So it's sort of like that same situation. But I would look for a different place, maybe a different town in the area. Now, I also don't have to live in the Pacific Northwest. It could be back to California. Again, the right situation, the right job, people. It could be Arizona, it could be Texas, it could be Florida, it could be Colorado, it could be to the Northeast, maybe. It just sort of depends. So that's what I would be doing in 2024. Just spending some time each week to kind of search out what the options are. I'm not saying I absolutely will not stay here another year, but I have no plans to. My idea is that I would not, but if it happens, it happens. Anyway, now I'm rambling, so I've said what I'm going to say for the annual report. I don't know if I would do in a 13-month one. I don't know when I'll do the next one. Maybe the quarterly report, if that, or just something random if I feel like it. I just do videos when I feel like it. So anyway, that's it. So yeah, the next, by 2024, this time, I could be in a new place. As I've always said, it was not that difficult to get here. All I needed to do is make a decision, probably the most difficult part, some emails, and renting a U-Haul. So with that same philosophy, I could get somewhere else. Here was incredibly easy because of owning the condo already. All I had to do was just, get the U-Haul. So I really don't want to rent again anywhere. But buying a home is also another home, would be a big step. So I don't know. I really have to find a place that I want to be committed to for an indefinite period of time. All right, that's about it. I've definitely said more than I was going to say, and annual report is over now. Cheers.